They had their guns pointed at me in my own driveway. Two identical women screaming that I was trying to steal my own Jeep. That was the moment I realized I wasn't in some neighborhood squabble anymore. I was in a war I never signed up for. It started like any quiet Saturday. I was outside wiping down my Jeep, that crimson Rubicon 392 I'd spent a year building with my buddy. It was my pride, my therapy. Sun was out, music low, everything peaceful, until I heard that voice. "Is that yours?" she asked. Not curious accusatory. I turned. She stood on the edge of my lawn in a bright pink tracksuit, arms crossed like she owned the place. I knew her. Pinky, one of my tenants. Constant complaints. Loud mouth. Then I saw the second one leaning out of an old sedan, same face, same bleached hair, same sour expression. Twin sister. Great. Before I could even ask what she wanted, Pinky declared, "My sister's car just died. She needs something safe for the winter, so we'll be taking this one." I thought I'd misheard. I'm sorry, what? Her sister pointed a long acrylic nail at my Jeep. "That one. You've got plenty of money. Be generous for once." I let out a slow breath, forcing down the burn in my chest. "This vehicle is not for sale," I said evenly. "And you're trespassing." "Trespassing." She barked. "I live here. I have rights. I don't have to look at rich show-offs like you while good people suffer." Then she dropped at the line that told me exactly what kind of person I was dealing with. "It's always the same with your kind." Her sister got out, stomped to my Jeep, and yanked the handle. When it didn't open, she kicked the door hard. I heard the scratch before I saw it, deep and ugly against the paint I'd spent weeks perfecting. That's when the Marine in me came back. "Get away from my vehicle," I said, voice low enough to make her freeze. Now. "But entitlement is a drug." Pinky sneered. "Oh, you'll regret this. I'm calling the police. I'll tell them you stole this Jeep and threatened two helpless women. She actually did it, right there." Called 911 and started spinning her fantasy about a carjacking in progress. While she lied into the phone, her sister spat on my window. I stood there, arms crossed, watching the circus. My quiet morning ruined. My Jeep damaged. And these two had no clue who they were dealing with. I didn't call the cops. I called Frank, my property manager. Pull her file. Every complaint, every violation. And call the police chief. Tell him one of our tenants just filed a false report against the guy who owns the entire neighborhood. Because that's when they didn't know I wasn't just a homeowner here. I built this community. I bought the land, redeveloped it, managed every lease. Their rent checks had my name on them. 10 minutes later, I heard sirens. The twins straightened up like actors hitting their cue. Pinky wiped fake tears on her sleeve. Her sister clutched her chest like a soap opera star. 2 patrol cars pulled up. The sergeant, a heavy guy with a mustache and an ego, didn't even look at me first. He went straight to them. "Thank God you're here," Pinky cried. "He attacked us. He tried to steal our car." The sergeant nodded, all serious concern, then looked at me like he'd already decided I was guilty. "Sir, hands on your head. Step away from the vehicle." With all due respect, I said calmly, "This is private property. You're being recorded. That's my Jeep, and those women are trespassing." His eyes narrowed. "I've got 2 scared witnesses here, son. Don't make this harder." Then it happened. The kicker twin shrieked, "He's got a gun." Everything froze. 2 officers drew their weapons. Pinky gasped dramatically. My pulse stayed steady. I slowly raised my hands. "I don't have a weapon," I said, "but you're being lied to. Every second of this is on video. The truth isn't an opinion, it's a recording." The sergeant scoffed. "Everyone's got cameras these days." "Yeah," I said, "and my niece." He didn't believe me until his radio crackled. Dispatch priority. Confirm identity of homeowner. He's the property owner. Chief's requesting direct contact. The sergeant's face drained of color. He handed me the radio like it was a live grenade. "This is Chief Daniels," came the voice. "Mr. Walker, we've seen the feed. My officers will handle it properly." "Good," I said cold, "because I'm pressing charges for vandalism, trespassing, and filing a false report." When I handed the radio back, the sergeant couldn't even look at me. "Ma'am," he muttered to Pinky, "you're under arrest." Their screams were unreal. "You can't arrest us. We live here." "Not for long," I said quietly. By the time the chief arrived, the neighbors were crowding their lawns whispering. They saw everything, the fake victims in cuffs, the police shaking my hand. The entire social order flipped in 10 minutes. When the chaos cleared, I stood by my Jeep tracing the scratch on the paint. It felt deeper than metal. It cut through my patience, my trust, my sense of safety. For the first time, I wondered, what if I hadn't had money or cameras? What if they'd believed the lie completely? For the first time in years, I felt helpless. But Frank pulled up, handed me a thick folder, and snapped me out of it. "She's been trouble since day one. Complaints, late payments. Even a fake injury lawsuit. Her sister's got a record 2 false police report insurance fraud. It's a scam, boss." And just like that, the helplessness turned to purpose. We started eviction immediately. But when Pinky's smear campaign hit the neighborhood forum, painting me as a violent slumlord, I knew this wasn't over. Someone was helping them. That's when I called Sal, my private investigator. Former cop. The guy finds things no one else can. 2 days later, he called back. "They're not freelancers," he said. "They're part of a bigger ring. A crooked lawyer's behind it. Guy calls himself a tenants' rights champion. Mr. Billboard. I knew the name. He was all over local TV promising to fight greedy landlords. Turns out he was just shaking them down. We needed proof, so we flipped the script. I offered Spitfire, now broke and facing jail, a deal. Immunity in exchange for cooperation. To my surprise, she took it. She told us everything, and then she agreed to wear a wire. I'll never forget that day. We sat in a surveillance van a block away while she met the lawyer in his glass office downtown. He started smug, calm down. "We apply pressure till the landlord breaks. They always break. You and your sister are the faces. I'm the mastermind." That was it. A confession clean as daylight. He bragged about the scam, how they targeted minority landlords, provoked confrontations, then sued for settlements. When the DA's team burst into his office minutes later, the so-called hero of the people went down in cuffs. Pinky got 2 years, her sister walked free for cooperating, and me, I got my life back. But it didn't feel like victory. It felt hollow, because the system had let it happen. If I hadn't had the resources, they would have ruined me. How many others had they ruined? So I started the Fair Play Fund, free legal aid for small homeowners getting crushed by predators like them. We took cases no one else would touch, and we won. That's when a new enemy appeared. A real one. A billionaire developer named Sterling. He cornered me at a charity gala, glass of champagne in hand, voice smooth as oil. "You're making waves," he said. "Upsetting powerful people. Be careful, Walker. Fires happen. Crime spikes. It's just business." A threat, plain and simple. Sal dug into Sterling's empire and found a time bomb, a skyscraper he'd owned for decades full of asbestos he'd covered up with forged inspections. Thousands of people had worked there breathing poison while he cashed rent checks. We got samples. Risky, illegal, but clean evidence. 3 labs confirmed it. The building was toxic. I scheduled a meeting with Sterling in that very building, his throne of lies. He greeted me with that smug grin. "Have you come to your senses about your little crusade?" I dropped a folder on his desk. "You'll want to see this." He opened it, lab reports, photos, the old inspection file, and a drafted class action lawsuit with potential damages in the billions. His hands trembled. "How did you get this?" "Doesn't matter. What matters is what happens next." I leaned closer. "You're going to sell this building to a trust I control for $1. That trust will pay to fix your mess. You'll also make a 9-figure anonymous donation to compensate victims. And then you'll retire." Today. His jaw clenched. "This is extortion." "No," I said quietly. "This is balance. He stared at me, and for the first time I saw fear, not anger. Fear. I stood. You have 24 hours, otherwise I walk this folder to every news station in the country. I left him there sitting among the ruins of his empire. The next day his lawyer called. My client accepts your terms. And just like that, the man who once threatened to burn my neighborhoods to the ground vanished from the city's skyline. I didn't celebrate. I didn't smile. I just stood on my porch that night watching the lights of the community I built. The same place where two delusional sisters once tried to steal my Jeep. It's funny. They thought I was just another landlord, another mark to push around. But that moment they gave me something I didn't know I was missing, a mission. The Jeep's scratch is gone now, professionally repaired. But I left a tiny mark under the handle, a reminder. Because power isn't about owning property or buildings or cars. It's about standing your ground when the world tells you to bow. And that's the lesson I learned the hard way. Sometimes the fight that starts in your driveway can change everything if you refuse to back down.